Am I the a-hole for refusing to exclude my non-biological son for the sake of my biological son I never knew existed? My wife, 45F, and I, 45M, have 3 kids, 19M, 18M, and 11F. My 18-year-old son, let's call him Blake, fake name, is not my or my wife's biological son. He is my best friend's son. My best friend tragically passed away when Blake was 7 years old. My best friend was like a brother to me, and he was a single father. My wife and I ended up getting legal guardianship of Blake after my best friend died. Blake was 7 at the time. We got guardianship of Blake for a lot of reasons, but that isn't my story to tell, that is Blake's story, so I will not go into detail. But Blake is my son. I will always respect and honor his biological father, but Blake views me as his dad, and he views my wife as his mom. My other kids, 19M and 11F, are his siblings. Things have not been easy, but Blake has grown into an amazing young man that I am so proud of. A little backstory. My wife and I broke up about 6 weeks after our oldest son, let's call him Danny, fake name, was born because the stress of parenthood was driving us apart. We were not married at the time. So we went off and lived our own lives as single people for about a year. I was, of course, still an involved father to my oldest son. During the beginning of my breakup with my wife, when Danny was maybe 4 months old, I met a woman who was a lot older than me, fake name, Lily. Lily and I were never a couple. We met up a few times and never spoke to each other after that. Lily had a son named James, fake name. Apparently, she thought James was the son of her husband, whom she is still with to this day, despite the fact that Lily cheated on him. I had no clue she was married. By the way, James took an ancestry DNA test when he turned 18 and got results that didn't quite match who he thought was his biological father. He matched with me because I had taken a DNA test a few years back. James got in contact with me, which was obviously a shock, but my wife and I have welcomed him into our family with open arms. Now I have 4 kids, 19M, 18M, 18M, and 11F. I'm still figuring out my father-son dynamic with James, but he is a great guy, and I'm so happy he is part of our lives now, despite how confusing this whole situation was at first. But James seems to have some issues with Blake. Blake does not know. I'm not entirely sure why James seems to resent Blake. Earlier today, James asked me if we could go on a father-son camping trip with Danny. I was, of course, very enthusiastic about a camping trip with my sons, especially since I missed so much of James's life. But I obviously mentioned that Blake was invited too. James got annoyed. He kept telling me that Blake doesn't have to be invited to everything. Then he told me that it would be nice for me to just spend time with my actual sons for once, without Blake. That annoyed me. Blake is my son just as much as Danny and James are. So I told James that either Blake is invited, or the camping trip is not happening. James is now accusing me of loving Blake more than I love him. So, AITAH? Final update. Hi. I only posted my original post yesterday, so I did not expect to have an update so quickly. I also wasn't really able to respond to a lot of the comments because so much has happened over the past 24 hours. Unfortunately, this is not the update I wanted to give, but people were so kind to offer me advice that I think it is only fair to let everybody know what has happened. To answer a few questions I saw, Lily and her husband have been arguing for the past 3 months since James found out I am his biological father. James never specifically told me how Lily's husband reacted, but I have a feeling the reaction was not good. Prior to James taking an ancestry DNA test, Lily's husband had been a great father to him. James did not live with us full time, but he often stayed at our house to get away from the arguing. Okay, now on to the update. After I made that post yesterday, Blake came and spoke to me about some incidents that have happened with James over the past 3 months. Unfortunately, James has some views that our family does not agree with, and Blake is a gay man. He is fine with me sharing this information, so he became a target of James's views, leading to some really rude interactions over the past few months. The only reason Blake told me now is because he heard from James that James did not want to invite Blake on the camping trip. Blake had tried to keep the peace these past 3 months, bless him, but James not wanting him to come camping was the final straw. Obviously, I was angry after hearing how James had treated Blake. So I spoke to James this morning and confronted him about the situation. He didn't even deny his views. Instead, he tried to convince me that I should kick Blake out of the house because of them. I don't think this is the full reason he dislikes Blake, but it certainly doesn't help James's resentment toward him. As of right now, I have told James he is not welcome back in my house while he still holds these views. Nor am I interested in forming a father-son bond with somebody who has these views. If and when James matures a bit, he will be welcomed back into our lives, but not right now. Blake deserves to feel that his home is a safe space. James is not welcome back here. I am taking Danny and Blake on the camping trip because they still want to go camping. I have empathy for James's family situation, but at the end of the day, I do not tolerate the kind of hatred in my life. This was not the update I wanted to give, but that is the situation. Thank you all for your advice. Edit, I should add that James's views also include racism. My wife is black, Blake is black, Danny is mixed race, and my daughter is mixed race. I do think James is more subtle about his racism compared to how openly homophobic he was toward Blake. But after I had a conversation with James, I did realize that he also holds racist views.